large group of people and keep track of everyone's screens.
Yeah, and our biggest takeaways were we shouldn't be afraid to speak up, especially because we needed to change a lot of things on the screens and make it cohesive based on the themes. And we also learned to be organized.
A technical point, we learned a lot of like GitHub and React.js and React Native, but it was also a great opportunity to meet new people.
Our takeaway is that it's nice to ask people for help, and that it was a nice new experience for us to learn.
From this internship, we learned how to code in TypeScript, JavaScript, and React. We also learned how to manage our time and to work with others.
Some key takeaways that we had was that collaboration is very important to keep doing work and manage them efficiently. Another thing we took away is that even if you don't get something the first try, you should keep trying because learning takes some time.
Thank you.
So some skills that we learn are skills in collaboration and working together, some skills in time management so we can get our stuff done in time, and also some computer science basics.
Some key takeaways from our internship is that we'll get real-life coding experience as well as a never give up attitude, which will make you succeed in life.
Some of the things we learned is that a lot of our app runs on pre-existing libraries and frameworks. We also learned how to Google search efficiently, and we learned how to use GitHub.
So React Native is what happens when you try to combine a scripting language with a marketing language, and what you get is a complete abomination to work with, and then you have to work with other libraries created by hipsters who barely know how to program.
Some things we took away from this internship was that asking for help is actually a skill. We did that a lot. We asked a lot of people for help during our coding. And
As for what we learned how to stay focused on our main goal, be responsible for our own tasks, and collaborate as a team after working on our individual tasks.
And our key takeaways from this experience is that we learned how to structure our own time wisely, how to be resilient when working, and how to effectively communicate with each other.
So things we learned are learning how to collaborate through GitHub, where it'd be pulling and requesting code from GitHub. We learned how to code React and TypeScript and VS Code as well. And lastly, how to problem solve more efficiently generally.
Some of the key takeaways from this internship is definitely like when you communicate and work together as a group, work gets done a lot faster and more efficiently. And also we learned like how a real world coding experience is.
We also learned the experience of a professional environment and the expectations that most jobs require nowadays. Thank you.
Some of the things we learned from this internship was how to make functions on React Native. We also learned how to import different libraries on Visual Studio Code, and we also learned that we're visual learners, so we'd rather watch YouTube videos. And the two biggest takeaways that we got from this internship were that the collaboration is the key to success and work has more flexibility than school. Thank you.
One of the things that we learned from this internship was how to use React and React Native and how to code efficiently with it. We also learned more JavaScript and TypeScript. But an important thing we learned was collaborating through GitHub and how GitHub works, as well as problem solving as a group.
Some takeaways we had were how we need to work together as a team in order to get things done quickly and efficiently, and also how it's like to work in a professional environment for the first time.
So throughout like the backend creation experience, I've actually learned a lot, even though I was like more of a front-end person. So I've learned a lot, especially on things like how an API works, especially with like different types of HTTP return codes and like types of requests such as like fetch and post, and also like headers, including ones for like security, which don't always work the way that they should, but it's really cool to find out like how they work.
I think that the internship gave me a better idea of how apps are made. I only worked on one part of it, but even then it gave me better understanding as someone who like didn't know anything about apps beforehand. So it was really cool to learn everything about like React and Spring Boot and APIs and everything.
We learned how to use React Native, React JavaScript,
JavaScript as a whole, we based the whole outline in HTML and CSS. We learned how to be persistent and not to give up after many failed attempts on making our screen work. We also learned what it meant to be a software developer and not just working with others, or not just coding, but also working with others and communicating on team projects.
So what I've learned by doing all of this is a lot of like in-depth React Native and TypeScript. And I've also learned a lot on how to use GitHub and like Git, including like GitHub Actions to like set up checks to verify code. And I've also learned a lot on how backend works through like API requests and different types of HTTP headers, things like that. Some takeaways that I've gained from doing this are that don't overcomplicate things when you're coding something, and you should always take breaks once in a while when you're stuck on a solution. And it's always helpful to like check out all resources, including articles, videos, and documentation, because in one of those resources there might be something that you missed and you've been looking for that piece all that time.